Hello everyone, and welcome to another Torchlight Infinite season. We're back with Whirlwind. So Whirlwind is one of my favorite skills in every single ARPG I can play. Attack and moving is definitely my favorite playstyle. You go through max more quicker, and you get more loot as well. So, the reason why we're playing this build right now is because basically there were a few updates done to both Thea and to two-handed weapons that makes this build, I think, viable again for endgame, even though the endgame got buffed a little bit. Whirlwind itself didn't get any buffs, but the multipliers were good enough with some level of gear. So let's go over the showcase first. I haven't unlocked really high tier maps yet. I think it's tier 6 is the highest I've gotten. So I'm gonna go, yeah, tier 5. I'm gonna run one of those. Playing with controller, by the way. They made the usage of mobility skills a little bit smoother, because now you don't have to, it doesn't start moving until you release it, but once you press it, it starts leaping around. It was great. It feels way better now. It used to be really slow to do this with controller. Now if you just press and hold, it goes fast enough. They did nerf a little bit sources of attack speed though, so there's a little bit of investment required to get to the levels of speed that you could obtain before with attack builds. So the league mechanic is rather fun. I like it. I've gotten so far, I think the craziest was like 10 FE in a zone, and I think I got a chest that just multiplied itself every time I opened it, and it was giving me a lot of relics and memories. Didn't get anything crazy out of it, but it was a lot of relics and memories, which makes me think that we could actually skip doing pirates this season, since, you know, the building an actually good chest is not a great experience in my opinion. Wait, let's wait for this to finish. Okay. Well, I should have skipped this, but you know, gives you a glimpse of what the league mechanic is. It's pretty fun. I like it. Once you finish all the tiles, you can leave, and you can either build it now or wait for the next appearance of the monolith. I'll just do that. Okay, let's get something crazy, perhaps skill radius, or radius, and you know, some whatever. They don't seem to show you what they will drop anymore, but yeah, we got lucky enough. Okay, so of course this is not very high level. This is a level 77 zone, but you know, we're level 80 something. We're doing pretty much self-found gear. In terms of currency, I have this amount right now that I need to spend on upgrades. I spent a few buying these initially, so this is what I spent. For the sword, you need the +4 channel stacks, is mandatory. +3, +4, either works. If you get a +3, you need to get an amulet with +1, or the ring. If you get a +4, then you can forsake either of them. Then Brace for Injury, which gives us the bleed explosions. It also gives some armor and life, pretty good amount of life. This is a very good item for clear. And this is the ring that you could use. If you equip it on the left side, you get a minimum stack. Pale Embrace is really good for any AoE builds, and eventually we can phase out of this perhaps, but right now it's a very good improvement. Resistance, life, and makes your radius increase applied to damage as well. This is what we bought. Let's say maybe so 3, 6, then and that was 13 and 16 FE maybe on buying like the base pieces that were mandatory. So what changed? Or let's go over the skills. So we're doing Whirlwind, we're doing Steamroll. Guard gives you a defense and it's a very high damage multiplier, so why not? Channel Prep, mandatory. It makes it so Whirlwind stats are at 3 stacks instead of at 1. Tendon Slicer, I think this got changed and it seems to be a little bit better now. You get additional physical damage and you get armor pen. Raging Slash, you need the steep strikes attempt, since Whirlwind's basic, the basic hit deals basically no damage, but the steep strike, the Wind Blade, has 152%. Still worse than Berserker Blade, but it's good. They introduced this support rhythm, which basically triggers. It can trigger defensive skills and potions and activation or empower skills. So we're using this with Resurrection Warcry, which works with this. Burst of Anger, which used to be Bloodthirst. This is, the movement speed, the additional attack speed. One of the best multipliers that we can have. And we're triggering these two automatically. So we're doing Harden with Leap Attack for a little bit of defense. And of course, Bull's Reach. Every melee build needs Bull's Reach. Now, Crimson Heat with Swiftness. Movement speed is pretty good. Vulnerability for increased damage. The Summon Thunder Spirit for increased attack speed, and Superpower increases the buff, but it makes the minion disappear. We don't need the minion for anything. We're not using it to apply any buffs, and it usually just dies during combat, so it's better to use Superpower. Weapon Amp. I'm choosing to do Weapon Amp instead of probably. Where's it? Where's the other aura? Probably Fearless is more damage. It gives you crit chance and crit damage, and also a lot of area. But I want the attack speed to be able to move faster. But in a single target scenario, you will probably switch Amp for the other one. And we're using Fixate since we're Thea. We want to increase our double damage chance to 100% best that we can. And this helps. Also, Mark makes the enemies take increased critical damage. And we're stacking a lot of crit. So, okay, Candle. The Candle is basically random. It cannot be traded. So whatever you get, you will put here. In this case, what I have is some resistance. Attack speed for channel skills, which is very funny that I got this. And this is a very nice Candle, steep strike attempts. So, as you know, you get steep strike attempts with Whirlwind for every channel stack you get. So by default, expand this a little bit to see exactly how many you get. Oh, there you go. Okay, so you get 5% chance per channel stack. Since we get it to 8, so 8 times 5 is 40%. We're using Raging Slash to give us an additional 35%, so that's 75. And the 25% that we're missing, we get it from here. So every single time we attack with Whirlwind, it's a steep strike, which releases the Wind Blade. If you don't have this, let me show you how it looks without it. You see? Way less frequent, because it needs to get to 8 stacks, and once it gets to 8, it releases the Wind Blade, then it goes back down. So that's why we need to stack the minimum stacks as as many as possible. So now those are the candles. Let's look at the passives. We're going for a pure fist builds. We need these for fervor. You know, fervor is crit chance. This increases fervor effect. So whatever we get that affects fervor gets increased by these fervor effects. So it's very good. We're getting this for additional physical damage, and it basically stops us from doing any sort of elemental damage. And, you know, just grabbing whatever makes sense here. Attack speed, life, damage, and getting some damage penetration. That is something that changed. We'll be looking at it soon. And I want to get these eventually for some recovery and some paralysis on hit once I switch the weapon. Now we're going for Ranger. Ranger is basically the best tree for any build that is focusing heavily on crits. So we're getting Fluke to make our crit chance lucky, and we could get to Gravity once we get more crit chance from gear. And you're doing Keep It Up. This makes Fervor give 2% crit rating, which is like base crit rating, right? And this gets increased by Fervor effect. So since Fervor can stack up to 100 and we have 30% increased Fervor effect, this is giving us, so it's 200 times 200, and the math, sorry. 200 times 0.30, this is 260 crit rating, which is roughly 26% crit chance. This is for every 100. Every 100 you get a percentage. Is it every 100? Or is it every 1,000? I think it's 100. Let me see. No, it's every 1,000. Every 1,000. Yeah, every 100 you get a percentage. So it's a 2.6% base crit chance. Okay, and we're grabbing Ronin this time around. So last time I did this build, we grabbed Shadow Dancer because of Versatile, but Versatile got changed and it basically no longer works with attack speed builds. What it does now is, so every attack skill used, you get additional spell damage, so up to 3 times, and when you cast a spell, it's guaranteed to crit. So basically Versatile is I'll say a custom crit setup now. So it's not really great anymore. Open wounds is good because it gives a lot of critical strike damage, but I don't think it's good enough for us to switch to this tree. And Blunt used to give 100% armor ignore, but it's now 8% penetration, so it's also not great anymore. Probably the reason to use this tree would be to instead of grabbing Fervor here, we grab this instant smash to ignore the armor. Once we get enough crit, and then switch to Shadow Dancer to be able to get the Fervor there, or get the Fervor elsewhere and still use Ronin. So Ronin has Sprinkle. Sprinkle makes it so every time you use a skill, there is a chance that you will get a lot of radius, and I don't know if I think the additional melee damage you get every time. If not, you could use Centralize, but Centralize is basically a defensive mechanism for Fervor. It'll be good, you know, for Path of the Brave or something. And we're using Falling Leaves at the moment. I want to be able to balance dexterity and strength to get this additional attack speed. It doesn't make up for Versatile, but it's pretty good. It's a lot of attack speed. And it will be a lot of attack damage. Even if I could switch this off to have my dexterity be higher than strength, I will still use it, I think. I'll need to test it, but right now my gear is giving me strength, so I cannot balance it at the moment, but it might be an option later. So we're not getting this because of the candle, but if you don't have the candle, you need to grab this to get 100% steep strike chance. There could be a case where I could grab this instead and and switch off Raging Slash. But you know, this is a 53% additional damage, so I don't really see this being able to switch to be switched off. Maybe crit strike damage, just 44%. It's not great. And okay, slates. So we're using for slates. These are our bonuses. Some area damage, some mana, regain. I like regain, field mana, and I lucked out. I got lucky with this and got additional attack damage for every point of order. So at the beginning of the map, we're getting basically 12% additional damage, and it slowly decays as order becomes chaos. And then we become weaker, but by that time, I should be done with the map. So it's very good because it's an order mod. Again, all of these you basically have to lock out. You can't trade for these, the roll ones at least. This I haven't rolled because I haven't had the materials for it, and this just getting skill duration. So I'll just put whatever here. I haven't maxed it. The gear, basically whatever I picked from the floor except for the pieces I bought. This is actually a quest reward. So what you can do with these type of pieces, I don't want to put it there, but you can block 2 mods. This actually came with a fire and cold resistance, so I blocked it until I got something I needed. I was playing energy shield, so that's why I kept it here. But if you were going to play this, you would keep life instead. Armor became way better, so I'm going for armor, since the praise for injury is an armor base. The +1 is also an armor base, so it kind of makes sense to just focus on armor instead of going hybrid evasion armor, since armor now actually mitigates elemental resistances, right? So as you can see, we got 34% physical mitigation and 20% elemental, well, non-physical mitigation, which includes erosion. It was pretty good. So I would heavily go for armor. Get armor, get life, skill radius, whatever works, right? Resistances, cap the resistances as soon as possible. Brace for injury for the explosion. This amulet is really good for clear because it gives you a lot of radius. This again gives you damage from your radius, so it synergizes with this piece. Boots, you want movement speed, you want life, you want armor. I like regen. I want to get more regen to be able to use injury buffer. Windbreath is pretty good. You get some life, you get resistance, and most importantly, you get the minimum channel stack. If you get the minimum channel stack amulet, you can switch this for another ring. Focus blessings comes to mind for Thea. If you're doing Rayhan, you will grab some crit damage instead. Crit damage. And the weapon I bought it with the +4 minimal channel stacks, and then I re-rolled until I hit attack speed, and I locked the attack speed. This is like a tier 4 attack speed. This item level can roll up to tier 3, so this is as good as I can get on this base. But I got the hybrid physical damage, so I just crafted. I just enchanted the additional physical damage. So this is just an entry weapon for now. Nothing too fancy. I just wanted the mean stacks is the most important part to be able to switch to this build. Hero traits, we're going with this. So additional damage. I haven't really looked out to min max my hero relics, so I just grab whatever, movement speed. I like movement speed, some radius, some chance to deal double damage. This is good because you get it makes it easier for you to replenish tenacity and agility blessings once you spend them. And you get so additional damage if it consumes max stacks of focus blessings, which is all the time. Because we generate a lot of focus blessings with Thea. Then we're grabbing the standard. This is good much later once you are able to max out your double damage chance through focus blessings and the tree. Then you don't need these anymore. And then you can switch to this, which is 20% additional damage and also makes the enemies weaker. You know, you don't have an option here, but this got buffed. It used to be 4 and stacked up to 200. Now it's 8 and stacks up to 240, which is roughly 40 divided by 8. That is 30. So you need to regain 30 focus blessings recently in the past few seconds to be able to stack this at the maximum. At the moment, we're not even close to that. We're basically getting maybe 10, which, you know, still 80% additional damage. Here we're getting, you know, this makes it so whenever you spend your focus blessings, you get agility and tenacity blessings back, and you know the quad damage. Best one. This is for another type of build. I haven't been able to theorize playing, you know, tenacity stacking. Tenacity stacking was actually my first option, but they nerfed the reason for you to go tenacity stacking, which was sacrifice. It used to be additional attack speed, and now it's additional damage. So it makes you, you know, it's still good, but it doesn't give you the speed that you need in this build. So that's why I didn't go the sacrifice route. But if there is a way for you to maybe, you know, get maximum tenacity and make your agility equal to your tenacity, and then your focus equal to both of them, then you can get, you know, all the attack speed you need from agility blessings, and you can go tenacity blessing stacking instead. Maybe you could go elemental. So damage, you know, damage is roughly 10 million probably, more or less. You know, Thea is bursty, so whenever you do the punishment, your damage spikes up a little bit, but overall, you know, it's lower most of the time, right? So there's a long way to go in the build. I think, you know, I've been satisfied with the performance thus far. I didn't actually did the level 80 trade with the Ring of Ice version before switching to this. I switched exactly at level 8 when I knew I was able to buy the weapon. Without the weapon, I won't play, you know, Whirlwind. It's just terrible without it. You know, you see it here. Look at the damage. You know, this is getting the +4. So if you have only 4 minimum, then, you know, you have to cut this even further, so the damage goes down a lot. It's not great. So you want the minimum stacks weapon. Anyway, I think that's all I have for this video. Feel free to let me know in the comments if you have any questions about this build, or if you have any suggestions on how this can be improved further. I'll be, you know, doing the regular league start thing, which is finishing up the monolith, doing T6 and T7 Traveler, and I'll come with an update when I get more stuff on it. Anyway, thanks for watching, and see you on the next one.